I am here at the Hollywood Roosevelt Hotel, the iconic hotel. They say Marilyn Monroe's ghost lives here. But I'm not here just for fun. I am here for an amazing night. Tonight, I get to go to a theater to share clips of Beast Games, sitting alongside Jimmy, MrBeast himself, Mac, the editor, Tyler, the director, to be considered for an Emmy nomination. An Emmy nomination. So this is big. You know, we're officially not nominated yet. Tonight is a huge piece to it. I'm sure they're gonna ask us questions and we're gonna try to see if we are gonna be considered and ultimately nominated for an Emmys. And the Emmys are in September. When you think about MrBeast and Beast Games, the production level was amazing. The sets were phenomenal. And again, I got to live them. But we're going up against some tough competition. The Traders, who won last year in the UK. David Blaine had an awesome documentary on National Geographic. That's kind of also being considered. The category is kind of best unscripted. But ultimately, hopefully we get nominated for a handful of them and we come out victorious. I mean, this is another dream come true. And even if we don't get nominated for an Emmy, the fact that I get to go and represent MrBeast, Beast Games, and catch up with Jimmy and Mac and Klitz and Tyler, I feel like I get to relive Beast Games again. And excited to see them. I'm gonna bring Jeremy with the camera to try to get some good stuff. And by the way, we kind of asked for permission, so we're not sure if he's gonna be allowed in with it, but Jeremy's pretty convincing. Fingers crossed.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Tell me that's the first time that's ever happened. And then we'll have the hours. Circle back. That's cool too.
Hey.
Oh, good to see you, dude.
I feel like I see you all the time.
How's it going?
How are you? So good to see you. How are you?
We have the best gamer in the world. This is the winner who gamed another
Good to see you.
camera guy.
How'd you end up the camera guy?
I was in this show.
How's it going?
How you doing?
Doing good, man.
So,
Who are we going up against for game shows?
So in the reality competition category, it's Survivor, Top Chef, The Voice, Drag Race, The Traders, Amazing Race. Those are like the 6 that are
Season
sort of
30 of
perennially
each of
in
them.
there. You're all submitted.
so it's editing, casting,
Editing, casting, production design.
made.
Jeff, you have no category, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, of course.
Dude, he's fine.
Best contestant in a game show.
Yes.
They should do that category.
Best contestant story in a game show. Are we even nominated for this one yet?
So we're just submitted, and so we're like aiming to get nominated. And so ballots go out June 12th. So this is that sweet spot of everything we're doing right now, leading up to everyone voting. This is like the most important beat in an FYC campaign.
How many
Voters-
people vote on whether or not it's nominated?
So there's 25,000 people in the TV Academy. The Voice is one, Drag Race is one, Top Chef is one,
Traders one more.
Traders won last year.
It's like the most complex edit mankind's ever done. We had the biggest variety of editors, from like well-seasoned TV editors to all of the Beast editors, and not a single one of them, like said, any project they've ever done was like 1/4 as complex as this thing was.
We had 1,000 cameras running.
We will start by seating the farthest away on stage. Your microphones are all on your chairs. They are hot, they are powered. You don't have to do anything. Have a great show, everybody.
Thank you.
That's right, clap. I was worried they weren't going to.
And winner of Beast Games, Jeffrey Randall Allen, editor and host, creator, and EP, MrBeast himself.
What am I calling you? Am I calling you Jimmy or MrBeast?
You can call me Jimmy. Amazon, when we talked to them, they were actually down. A lot of streaming platforms back in the day didn't really care to work with YouTubers, but when we talked to Prime Video, they were just like, yes, this is awesome. They were really excited. And I was like, okay, perfect. We've been sitting on this for a while. And it was just a great partnership. It turned out better than I ever thought.
Love that.
Nobody has ever done this before. We've never done it before. We're gonna give it our all, and hopefully it turns out the way it did, which I think we got like pretty lucky looking back. We didn't set for it to, break records. We just were hoping we like made something that we were proud of. I think we are. I mean,
Oh yeah, absolutely. 100%. Once it was over and it was time to edit the show, it's the most mind-boggling edit of all time. So it was ridiculous.
Well, you should elaborate on it, because I actually think these people would find it pretty interesting. So, because we don't script things, and we really wanted this to be a really authentic game show, like, if you have 1,000 contestants and you're not, loosely scripting it or putting words in their mouth, you kind of need these cameras recording them 24/7, which, like, the most cameras in history ever used in a production simultaneously is like, well, it's 400, which we did on our YouTube channel, but outside of us, it's like 100. So we're talking like, multiples more cameras than anyone else has ever used, millions of dollars in just cabling and millions of dollars in the control room and tens of millions of dollars all together, just so we can have cameras running 24/7 so we can actually capture whatever they're feeling so we don't have to like go tell them when they can talk or whatever.
And do you remember like the stats you were giving me of how much footage there was?
About 2 million gigabytes of footage, which is, if you wanted to sit down and just watch all the footage in a row from episode 1, it would take you 2 years. Because I learned a lot of things about myself during this edit. I learned that I can listen to 4 to 5 people talk at once, but not 6. That 6th person just breaks it. I can't figure out what anyone's saying.
How many editors are helping?
I mean, well,
at the peak we got over 100.
Yeah.
In the minute, if I had to pull my entire editing team off the YouTube channel, plus bring on any contractor we could get our hands on just to shift through footage and help bring this behemoth into something manageable. We had the world record for most cameras running simultaneously, most camera cables, all that just so we didn't have to use story producers to put words in their mouth, and which is why hopefully it feels authentic to you, because that was a big thing we were going for. Obviously once you finish, you can't go back and refilm things, so if you don't capture it, it just doesn't exist.
The sets on the show are so incredible.
Well, just the needs of that set are unlike anything anyone has ever been asked to do before. 500 cast members. That means it's not a reality house. You're talking about like a festival venue. It has to keep them alive. It has to be able to move them around. They have to have some place to go to the bathroom. That's not easy. A massive challenge venue. We had multiple areas in that set where hundreds of people could compete in a way that you could shoot and would make sense and were discreet and could act like their own sets. And then beyond that, it was a reality house, the biggest reality cast house ever made, and it had to shoot well. That is a lot of things for the same place to do when you only have a short period of time to conceive of it.
2 days before we're gonna go shoot in the city, it was one of the worst thunderstorms when we have 2 gigantic metal towers.
The entire paint treatment of that tower that was 130 feet tall, 90 feet wide, 60 feet deep, wash off. It was raw plywood 2 days before we shot. About 80 painters on lifts, repainting the entire thing in the 48 hours before shooting.
Let's take a look at another clip from Beast Games.
Most of the challenges weren't finalized until hours before we actually filmed, and the reason is not because we're not prepared, but we constantly think through, is this really the best creative? Side note, Tyler does all of the challenges, and he's really good at them.
The fun part of the job.
It is.
I think we should also bring up the dodgeballs.
Oh, this is crazy.
Over 100 got eliminated. If there was less than 100, we had to have a backup plan. So they all, in their red compartments, had a dodgeball. And so what we were going to do is if like 70 towers got eliminated, we were going to be like, hey, the lights are going to go red, it's free for all, first other 30 towers that get knocked over are out.
Which would have been epic.
And we were
really
we were excited. We were going to go through all the footage, it was great, and then all of a sudden it's like more than 100, and we were like, oh, what do we do? And we made it work. Yeah.
Katie and Jeffrey, this is the first time you actually met in person today. Casting director and talent, so this is an amazing moment for both of you, but
she just swiped on your submission. That's what I'm saying. What else are you sitting there?
She gave me $10 billion, bro.
I owe her dinner for sure.
Yeah, dinner maybe a couple times.
Sure. Katie, take us back to the casting process. What was it about Jeffrey that didn't make you swipe?
So when we got the call to find 1,000 people, I actually spoke to over 100,000 people during the course of casting. We had to move 250 minimum people forward a day. But it's really important to know that in the casting process of unscripted, it's harder to get on a competition show than it is to become president of the United States. I would say Jeffrey embodies the spirit of a real hero. I did not find out that he won. I watched the show with many of you.
We obviously had to keep that very tight-knit, so even on set, we were kicking people off as the numbers got down.
Yeah, we like shut down the control room.
Yeah, and the footage was very locked and key, because obviously if that leaks, then it kind of ruins the surprise at the end of the show. You know, if 20 people know, the odds of that staying a secret for 3 or 4 months while we're editing is like 0.
So yay, here we are. These $10
We didn't
million.
make the list, is the point.
You've got to be kidding me! There are literally 4 people currently saying no to $500,000! What is going on? That's more money than I've ever seen, but that group is One!
Oh my god.
You guys need more to me than that scream. The offer is off the table.
After that challenge, and then like the cameras were off, and you and Jimmy were like beside yourself. Like you were like this. I'm like in my mind, I'm like, did we screw something up? Like, dude, that was the most shocked I've ever seen you guys.
Well, we were betting beforehand how high it would go before someone pressed it. I was like, there's no world where it's going above like $200,000. Like that's a life-changing amount of money. And so I was like worried the counter would go up too fast and we wouldn't get that much content because I was like, obviously they're gonna press it because there's 250 contestants left. You press the button, you eliminate 60 of them, so your odds of winning $5 million are better. Plus, you'd walk away with a ton of money. But you know, these people had high integrity and they promised other contestants they wouldn't vote them out.
There wasn't a single person on set that thought it would go to $1 million.
Yeah, well,
even before we're walking up and compliance goes, what's the cap? Like it can't go up to forever. And I was like, I don't know, $1 million. I literally was like, I don't know, $1 million. It doesn't matter. That's what I said. I was like, it doesn't matter.
Originally it was 5.
Yeah,
originally it was 5.
Put $1 million. I couldn't believe it. This dude is jumping on my back,
going like
shaking
this next
his
to
head, 500, 600, so, and I'm like trying to focus. I'm like, I'm feeding stuff to Jimmy. I'm like, say this is.
And I'm like, man, what are we gonna have to cut in a later episode?
And we're like
$900,000.
And then it hits a mill. No one takes it, and the control room is freaking out because we realized we just filmed one of the best moments on TV. Like that was amazing. We couldn't
felt like that.
Jimmy the whole time was at the top going, everyone's gonna think this is fake. No one, like, who does that?
Well, hold on. We actually have one of Jeremy.
Yeah, literally that's it.
It's right there.
Yeah. Hey, stand up real quick. He's one of the more people. Jeremy, come up here real quick. He's one of the four with the long beard.
Why didn't you take $1 million in cash? Oh, it'd be in your bank account right now.
Well, I mean, my team put my trust in me. I didn't ask to be the captain. They asked me to be the captain. And I just want to point out that my boy Jeff was on my team.
Yeah.
And if I would have went back on my word, he wouldn't be chasing a finding cure for his son.
If he took the $1 million, one of the 60 people that would have been eliminated as a consequence was Jeff, so it would have changed everything.
Jeffrey, I'm just curious, was there ever a moment where you're like, I'm gonna get eliminated or something's gonna...
How many?
How many times?
Several. Episode 1, when we built the towers, I'm like, I cannot get out on this. Like, I still have kids. I do this stuff at home. I can't lose on that. But episode 2, I got eliminated for an hour. On the 4th floor, the ball drop. We thought we dropped the ball first, so I was already playing through my head, like, what am I gonna do when I go home? Okay, I'll fly home tomorrow, I'll see my kids, and I'll go back to the grind. And then episode 3, the challenge you guys were just talking about, well, I was just so messed up psychologically. I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing here? And I just started asking myself, like, is this how I'm handling my midlife crisis? And after that, I kind of powered through, and fortunately from there, I felt like I just got into a groove and had great friends support, and vice versa. And fortunately, got all the way to the end.
I was pulling for you the whole time, by the way.
Yeah. I felt it. No, I'm just. But I remember talking.
Dude, he looks like Omni-Man, right? Have you seen that show?
A little bit, yeah. Am I too old for that show? What show is that?
Dude, it's like
Invincible. It's a newer one.
Yeah.
No, don't worry about it. It's also on Prime Video. It's their other big show.
I'll check it out.
I think a big nature of Jimmy comes from, when he's 12, 13, 14 doing YouTube videos, you have to do everything. You really have to write it. You have to do lighting. You have to almost like self-teach yourself. And so Jimmy didn't take classes, or he didn't go, what is filmmaking, or what is television, or how do you make content? He just kind of failed one by one as we kind of joined forces or joined that mindset. We kind of felt similar or felt empowered that there was no limitation, but that really comes from Jimmy coming back and just going, well, why? Why not? And we're like,
Bro says why all the time.
Yeah.
It's his favorite word. And to be honest, there's never an answer. You're like, okay, I'll go try again, sorry.
Did you say that to you, Stephen, with your stats, like, why?
We all know things are going a little tough in the entertainment industry right now. And last year, everybody was tightening their belts. Smaller budgets, smaller shows. And these guys came and said, we want to take the biggest swing ever. Regardless of the fact that I needed to learn how to think their way a little bit. it was thrilling to, and just a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to attack something so big. Well, most people are just really thrilled if they have a job. What a great opportunity. It was awesome.
I was also shocked when I was walking around while they were building the set. I mean, at least half the people working on it would be like, thank you for like hiring us because it's been hard to find work here. I didn't even know that was a thing going on.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know it, Jimmy, you're the only guy in the entertainment industry making money right now.
The plan was just for them to jump out of the helicopter, but right before we filmed that scene, they were like, we can do backflips now.
Yeah, it's crazy. The day before we did like a rehearsal and they jump out and like he said, they come up and go, we could do a backflip. I'm like, yeah, you should have said that yesterday.
I was like, is your foot gonna like hit the helicopter blades or like how does that work? And he's like, he just looked at me like, no, you idiot.
The rules of this game are very simple. On the red tracks are 3 contestants. On the yellow track is your brand new Lamborghini. The train has to go down one of those tracks.
Well, I was just gonna say in this episode, like it started getting real for the contestants. So the episode before we had 51 people, we cut 30, now we're down to 21, and people started kind of seeing like, oh my gosh, I could win. So every decision was super high pressure. People you're friends with, you start having different conversations with. And I just remember kind of going, oh my gosh, like, just blend in. Don't step in it. And that was my whole kind of goal for that episode, but I was sitting back going, I cannot believe this is happening.
There's a reason why we didn't cut to any shots of him. He was blending in, trying to be alone.
He was hiding. I literally hid in the corner.
Target.
Covered himself in a rock. I was, do not pick me.
Speaking of winning, let's take a look at your winning clip. Talk about what winning has meant for you and how your life has changed.
I watch that and every time I tear up. I mean, I'm just super grateful to Amazon and to the Beast team and also to my sons for inspiring me, you know. So I have 2 sons. My oldest son, Jack, is a huge MrBeast fan, like the biggest. So he introduced me to MrBeast a couple years ago when we started watching the main channel. And then his little brother has a rare brain disease called creatine transporter deficiency. Forever, I'm like, I need to figure out how to find a treatment for him. And then I'm like, okay, I saw Beast Games season 1 application, and I said, gosh, if I can get on, maybe I can tell the world about his rare disease. I mean, it's MrBeast. He's the #1 YouTuber in the world. And I was just crazy enough to think that I could go far enough to tell the story. And then once I got to episode 7, I started thinking I can actually win this thing. It's a miracle. It's an absolute miracle that I'm sitting here. It's an absolute miracle that people actually see me on the street and wish well for my son and ask me about creatine transporter deficiency. I couldn't have created a better script for a gift to be able to help kids like Lucas and ultimately, you know, try to find treatment for him and other kids like him.
I'm going to give you this question just for fun, to take it home. Who on this panel, out of these 4, would last the longest if they had to play?
Okay, careful.
Hey, answer careful.
No pressure. Come on now.
I would say the one who's probably the most concealed is the one who I think would go the farthest.
All right, so not Klitzer, agreed.
Not Klitz, not Mac.
What?
I think Mac would get a little overconfident.
No.
That's spot on.
I mean, Katie would make so many friends.
I would. I think I would win.
I think it'd be tough at the end when you go against Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler is 100%.
I think Tyler would go all the way. I think he would know when to step it up, know when to blend in.
How you feel?
And it also helps that he's the designer of the game.
He also ran all the
Maybe we shouldn't include Tyler there.
Actually, I would love to see a challenge amongst these 7. I think that's same. That's a main channel video right there. Let's go.
Jimmy, just for you, like, how does it feel to hear, you know, Jeffrey's story and what the win means for him?
I mean, honestly, amazing. And when I hear that, I'm just like, man, I'm so grateful he won. And I'm almost like, wow, we got really lucky, because obviously not everyone has like a purpose or a reason. And there were people who unironically, when you asked them if you won, what would you buy? They would just go, Lamborghinis and a mansion. You know? So this was not the intention, but I think in a way that is a subtle genius of how it was set up, is like the people who had better stories were more likely to get pushed through, which obviously gives us a better ending.
We love that. I want to thank you all for that incredible conversation.
Turn down a middle.
Great job up there.
What an unforgettable experience, reconnecting with Jimmy and the Beast team, meeting fans, and hearing their stories. I am just so grateful to be a part of this journey. It's absolutely incredible.